Hello everyone, welcome. My name is JC. What you just heard is a short piece using the free Musio Essentials library on Cakewalk. And I wanted to make this video about Musio Essentials, which is a free collection of virtual instruments you can download at musio.com. This is not a sponsored video and I don't have any connection to Musio except as a customer that uses their virtual instruments. I wanted to make this video simply to let everyone know that there's another free symphonic orchestral virtual instrument out there that isn't getting a lot of attention right now. I created a template for Cakewalk using only the free virtual instruments offered in Musio Essentials. If you're interested, there will be a link to download the template in the description below. So let's run through the template really quick. Let's go to the edit window. First of all, we've got the sketch pianos. There's 5 sketch piano tracks, and this uses session piano upright. And before I go through the orchestral sections, let's look at the instruments included in CineSymphony Lite. As you can see, I don't use the key switch patches at all. For woodwinds, there's longs and shorts. For brass, there's longs and shorts. For strings, there's longs, shorts, and pizzicato. There's a dedicated timpani patch, and there's an orchestral percussion patch that has tubular bells you'll see in the blue section. Bass drum, snare, and toms is in the red section. There's some world instruments in the green section. Shakers, cymbals, gongs, and other percussion is also in the orange section. And at the top, there's a 1-octave glockenspiel in the purple section. By the way, you should go to cinesamples.com and take a look at how much they charge for this CineSymphony Lite library. So let's go ahead and take a look at the individual sections. For woodwinds, you'll see I have the woodwinds longs separated into 2 separate tracks. So I do woodwinds longs high, woodwind longs low. And then for the shorts, I do the same thing, high and low. And all woodwinds are going to its own auxiliary reverb track. Next, you'll see for the brass, it's the same exact thing. There's brass longs. I do a high and a low track to be able to just separate instruments for the orchestration. And the same thing with the shorts, high and low. And of course, all the brass are going to their own reverb auxiliary track as well. Next is the strings. So you'll see I did the same exact thing. Strings longs high, string longs low. Same with the shorts, high and low. And for the pizzicatos, high and low. And then all strings are going to their own auxiliary reverb track. Next is tune percussion. For the tune percussion, I use the same piano that was in the sketch tracks, which is the session piano upright. For the harp, I use the free CineLegacy harp that's included. For the Celeste, rather than using the Celeste that's inside the percussion instruments for CineSymphony Lite, I use the Mr. Rogers Celeste. This one gives you 2.5 octaves, whereas the one in CineSymphony Lite only gives you 1 octave. The glockenspiel, vibraphone, xylophone, and marimba all come from the Village Mallets library that's included. So you'll see the glockenspiel, like I said, this has the 2.5 octaves, vibraphone, xylophone, marimba. The tubular bells actually come from the percussion library inside CineSymphony Lite. And I put them in with the tune percussion and, of course, sent all of these to their own auxiliary track for reverb. The percussion, as you can see, the timpani is got its own dedicated patch. And then for the rest of it, which is the bass, the snare, the toms, the world percussion, the shakers, and the cymbals, what I did is they're basically all the same patch. But in the title of each individual track, I put which notes trigger the particular instrument. So for example, the bass drum, I can find at C2 and D2, the snares at E and F2, toms G2 to C3, and so on and so forth. And then finally the extras. Oh, the other thing I want to point out, you'll notice that for the percussion, They are not going to their own auxiliary reverb, and that's because there's enough room tone in all these instruments that they blend really well with everything else. For the extras, I basically included everything else. The accent pianos are very usable along with the symphonic orchestra. The kalimba, there's tonal tickies. There's a lot of tonal tickies in that library. I just picked one and threw it in there. Again, the xylophone, the twisted psaltery, very usable, good horror sound effects. Ancient Bones has got some weird woodwinds. And of course, I put in the village drums just in case you need a drum set to go along with whatever you're composing. The only instruments not in the template are the Linn drum machine, the Prophet 5 synthesizer, and the CineLegacy percussion, since the percussion in CineSymphony Lite pretty much covers all the bases. And of course, down here you see the master track. One more thing I wanted to point out real quick. Let's take a look. Let me expand the Woodwinds longs. What I did is for the modulation setting on the Woodwind longs, I set them at a CC value of 32. I found that the Woodwind settings are just really in your face if you use them at anything higher than 32. So they're set here at 32. And then let's go take a look at brass. The brass I set at 64 for the modulation CC. And I believe I did the same thing for the strings. Let me see. Yeah, the strings were also set modulation CC 64. I found that was a good balance to work with and record with. So just to make you aware of that. Let's take a look at the mix window. Starting at the left, you'll see the first 5 tracks are the sketch piano tracks. They're muted right now since we're mixing down just the orchestral instruments. You'll see all the woodwinds, and they are going to their own auxiliary track. I'll expand that. They're using the ballroom reverb preset that's included with Cakewalk. The dry is all the way off, and there's a high pass curve after it at 200 hertz. You really don't need the mud. You just need the reverb, the sound of the room to help accentuate the tone of the symphony. And you'll notice that also for the brass, it's the same thing. It's the same preset. The dry is completely off. The same high pass at 200 hertz. Strings, same exact thing, is the same preset with the same high pass at 200 hertz. You come over here to the tune percussion section. Same thing on the reverb. Then you have, of course, the regular percussion, the timpani and the bass drum, so on and so forth. Those do not have a reverb send or an auxiliary track. Like I said, there's plenty of room tone included with them, and it works really well, really balanced with using the other instruments, using the reverb send. And then, of course, at the very end, there's the additional tracks that I included. So far, I haven't found a use for them, but I decided to include it in the template in case you want to get creative with them. Let's take a look at the master fader real quick. First, here I have an EQ with a high pass filter at 50 hertz, and then there's a high shelf at 5000K. It's just boosted by 1 dB right here, and the gloss is turned on, which is basically an air setting. And then after the EQ, Boost 11 is a limiter that is included with Cakewalk. And if you can, I recommend that you download something else. A free good one that's out there is called LoudMax. If you just Google LoudMax, all one word, you should find it right away. I would suggest putting LoudMax in place of that Boost 11. Set the, let me see. I would suggest you put minus 12 dB threshold and a minus 3 dB output on the LoudMax because it's only got 2 settings and it will sound great. and I'm sure it'll work better. This one that's included with Cakewalk it just distorts very easily. And basically that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any questions, let me know. Like I said, a link to the template will be included in the description below. Have a great day.